Are you ready to become awesomer? Hello everyone, this is Umar Hameed, your host, and welcome to the No Limit Selling Podcast, where industry leaders share their tips, strategies, and advice on how to make you better, stronger, faster. Get ready for another episode. Hello everyone, welcome to a special episode of the No Limit Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Umar Hameed, and normally I interview interesting people and figure out how they do what they do, how they build their organizations, and how do they inspire the people that they lead to let go of their fears and hesitations and go on a journey with them to build extraordinary organizations. But today, I want to share with you a project that I've been working on. It's called NeuroBoosterz. It's an app that's going to let you decide how you want to feel and how you want to act in any situation. Basically giving you direct control over your mindset in the palm of your hands. But before we get started going into NeuroBoosterz, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My whole reason for being, my purpose in life, is to be a joyful educator that helps people break through their barriers so they become awesomer. And since 2003, that's what I've been doing. But before then, I was in Silicon Valley helping companies grow, helping companies increase their sales. And what I noticed, no matter where in the world the company was located, they had two problems that were incredibly difficult to fix. The first one was they had employees that were doing a good job, but when you looked at them, you knew that this person could be a rock star. That employee wanted to improve. The company wanted them to improve, so they invested in workshops and training and coaches, and more times than not, the person never made that jump from a B player to an A player, and the question was, why not? If the employee didn't want to improve, I could understand it, but the employees desperately wanted to do better, so what on earth was getting in the way? And the second problem was when teams came together. Let's say the management team, you've got the best and brightest in the company coming together to help this organization grow, but one thing that happens all too often, when you look at the sum of the parts, they're more than the whole. And the question is, what's getting in the way? These people want to grow that organization, but something about coming together, office politics and ego and silos and all that stuff gets in the way. So I wanted to fix that problem, and I looked at the business consulting industry. There's a 70% failure rate of them actually getting what they're doing right. And so it's like, wait, the answer isn't there. When I looked at therapy and psychiatry, it just takes such a long time for change to happen. You know, no one's got time to wait that long to create the changes that they need to build the lives and the careers that they truly want. So I started taking a deeper dive into this new area of neuroscience. And neuroscience is discovering new things all the time, but how can we make that applicable to people like you and I? So as salespeople, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we can use those insights to change our behavior so we get dramatically better results. So I started playing around with this concept of applied neuroscience. I also looked at disciplines like hypnosis. You know, people have the ability to do amazing things when they're in a trance. Well, that means they can do it, but what gets in the way when they're not in a trance, when they're in normal mode? The third place I looked was a branch of psychology called neuro-linguistic programming. Then I started looking into that spiritual place where we're noticing that the concepts from the spiritual place, all of a sudden quantum mechanics is coming in saying, well, actually there's science behind it. I've built up a vast array of tools to help people break through the barriers. And what I discovered was that if we could apply these insights into the sales industry, we could significantly change the world. Because when you look at the sales industry, it's an $8 billion industry just training salespeople alone. When you look at the research, how effective sales training is, it turns out it wears off pretty quickly. So sales training lasts for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then it just fades away and people go back to their normal way of being. In my decades of working with salespeople, with human beings, with teams, this is what I've uncovered. What I've uncovered is that underneath every single behavior is a belief in our unconscious that controls that behavior. It's like a black hole of gravity that locks that behavior in place. So no matter how much you want to change, you can't change unless you address the underlying belief. The new frontier for sales enablement is not sales training. The new frontier is mind training. So I've been focused on this for a while, but a pivotal change happened in my life. October the 16th, 2018, my wife Eileen had been married for 27 years, and she passed on October 16th. She had cancer. That evening at 10 o'clock, she passed. And then it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So we called the hospice people in and say, she's passed. They said, oh, we'll be there to, officially clock her passing. So they came over around about 12:30. They said, yep, she has passed away. Then I asked, okay, so what are you going to do with the body? And they said, what do you mean, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you should have like a funeral home already lined up. I hadn't done that. But on my laptop, I was looking at some funeral homes, and I open up the browser. There's a funeral home right there in front of me, so I dial that number at 1 o'clock in the morning, I guess. They answer and say, we'll be right over to pick her up. And they come over, they pick her up, and as they're leaving with my wife, I'm thinking, should I ask for a receipt? And then it's just such a silly notion, right? So off they go, and my wife thought that she was going to go for a cure November 1st. But she didn't go, so I didn't cancel any of my my workshops. So the very next day at noon, I had a workshop that I was doing. And when I went to that workshop, my cousin was going with me just to keep me company, make sure I was doing okay. And I wanted to do that workshop as an homage to my wife. It's like, okay, I'm going to really channel my wife through me and do something that she would be proud of. And as I'm driving down to this gig, I'm thinking, okay, what I need to do is to not hold back anymore, not make it all about the people that I'm leading, but really share who I am, because if I could share who I am truly and deeply, that would have a massive impact on other people, right? So anyway, as I'm driving, I suddenly realized that, oh my God, people picked up my wife last night, and I'm not sure which funeral home took her. Oh my God, I've lost my wife. Oh my God, what am I going to tell her mother? So I asked my cousin, oh my God, I'm not sure where I sent her. And had I been thinking rationally, I would have looked at the phone numbers I dialed from my cell phone the night before and discovered it. Or I could have gone to my laptop, even though I, shut down the browser, gone into the search history, but I wasn't thinking straight. So I go, it's Parkville something. So I asked my cousin to call them, get on the phone with them and say, hi, my name's Umar Hameed and my wife Eileen. And they stop me right there and say, Mr. Hameed, don't worry, we have your wife. And so with that kind of taken care of, I come to this workshop and I hold nothing back. I reveal who I am, not about my wife's passing, but I tell them about my story, why I do what I do. And I'm totally transparent why this work is so important to me, to help people take charge of their mindset. And when I do this workshop, the impact from this workshop for the attendees was huge. And it really got me to think, oh my God, all this time I was focused on the people coming to the workshop. It was all about them. And I thought that was a noble thing to do. But it turns out what I needed to do was to be myself fully and completely. Because when I'm fully embodying who I am, I'm at my most powerful self. So how can I help other people step into who they actually are? Because it turns out that, we have three faces. There's a face we show the outside world. And oftentimes that face is, look at me, I'm pretty or smart or intelligent or funny or whatever that thing is. And then we have this second face that I call the delusion, who we think we are. And then we have that third face, the authentic self, who we actually are. When we reveal who we actually are to others, it changes our relationship with the world. This workshop and the experience of doing it really got me to think, hey, I need to be fully transparent. So move forward in time to February 2019. I'm doing a 3-day workshop, and what I've decided to do is this, that I'm a really good hypnotist. I'm going to bring hypnosis and some guided journeys to help people in the workshop uncover what are their deepest, darkest fears that reside in their unconscious. Because if they knew what they were, it would help them break through those fears so they could actually step into their authentic selves. So in this 3-day journey, I did a lot of trance work, and my thoughts were either people are going to love this or they're going to pick up pointy sticks and chase me out of the building. And it turned out that people were hungry for this, because what I was doing for them was I was getting them to, for a moment, shut down their conscious mind, that mind that has a judge in it. This is how you should behave. This is what you should say. This is how people should see you, and all that bullshit that goes on. When I got their conscious mind to shut down, they got access to their unconscious mind, where their passion is, where their power is, where their insights are, where their deepest learnings are, where their most powerful selves reside. And after this workshop, before it ended, people were saying, oh my God, where can I get some of those journeys that you took us on? Where can I find those? And it got me to think that, hey, I've been doing these custom tracks for clients, specific tracks that would give them the ability to have me with them when they most needed me. And it got me to think, well, one of the things I could do for the world is if I created an app that allowed people to decide how they wanted to feel or how they wanted to act in any situation, that could be my contribution to the world, to make this world a better place, to allow people to be their very best selves. And when they go to do something, their strongest, most powerful, most loving, most centered, most compassionate person, that version of them shows up, and it would change their world. February, I decided that, hey, I'm going to create an app. We need to do is to give people that kind of power at their fingertips. So I created the NeuroBoosterz app. Neuro, of course, means mind, and boosters meaning this is going to boost your mind when you have direct access to it. The NeuroBoosterz app has 6 categories: sales mindset, sleep and relaxation, health and wellness, transformation, confidence and motivation, and finally, life's ups and downs. So let me take you into these categories to give you a sense of what's possible for you. In the sales mindset category right now, there's 11 tracks, and one of the tracks is called Rebound. When salespeople are really looking forward to close this really large account, they're counting on it, the VP of sales is counting on it, the company's counting on it, and for whatever reason, the sale goes sideways and they lose that sale for that salesperson because there was so much pressure that sometimes it can throw them off their game for an afternoon or a day or a week or a quarter. They can't get back into the sales zone. The Rebound track is 7 minutes and 29 seconds long, and it's going to allow you to acknowledge the failure, but get back into your most optimal, powerful selling mode and get back in the trenches, in under 8 minutes, which is pretty phenomenal. One of the areas that people have challenges is really planning out their week so they get the maximum out of it. There's a track called Plan Your Upcoming Week, and in 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it allows you to quieten down your conscious mind, let your unconscious mind plan out the week for you. What are the most important things you need to accomplish this week without that judge saying, you won't have time, maybe you don't have this, all that BS goes away, and you get to map out a week, and you program your neurology. This is exactly what I want to have happen. And with this kind of direct control of your unconscious mind, you start accomplishing significantly more than you thought was possible. And one last track in this area I wanted to share with you. They're too important. It's a 9-minute and 30-second track because sometimes when we deal with customers of a certain size, we feel powerful and strong. And when we go into that billion-dollar company, all of a sudden they're too important. They won't want to hear from me. All that stuff in our head comes up, and this track allows you to just let all of that go so your best, brightest, strongest, most powerful self shows up to that meeting, and that's how you close accounts. In the sleep and relaxation category, I use applied neuroscience to knock people out. So if you have trouble sleeping, this is going to allow you to listen to one of these tracks. Within 10-15 minutes, you will just be knocked out and have a deep, relaxing rest. So when you wake up the next morning, you have the energy to take on your day. In the health and wellness space, one of the tracks in there is called Learn the Lesson, because oftentimes traumatic things happen to us in our personal lives. In business, sometimes we do something that, why did I do that? And we ruminate about it, and it haunts us. Listen to this track, Learn the Lesson. It's 6 minutes and 30 seconds long, and it allows you to learn the lesson that the universe is trying to teach you so the past does not have a hold upon you, and you can just move on and build the life that you want. One of the tracks in the transformation space is called Mind Movie, and Mind Movie is a technique. It's 7 minutes and 40 seconds long that allows you to program your neurology on exactly what you want to accomplish in the upcoming event, whether it's a sporting thing where you're playing baseball, or it's a critical business meeting, or maybe it's just a date with your significant other and you want to make sure this date is going to be phenomenal. Then in the confidence and motivation space, there's this amazing track called Boost Your Self-Esteem. And in 7 minutes, it shows you how to amp up your self-esteem. So let's say you checked in before you listened to the track. On a scale of 1 to 10, your self-esteem is a 6 out of 10. listen to this track, and it's going to amp it up. It's going to show you how to take charge of your mindset so you can amp up your self-esteem to a 9 or a 10. And this is going to change how you show up in the world. And the final category, I'm going to share one of the tracks in there. It's called Life's Ups and Downs. And one of the tracks, it's called Let Go of Work. And what it's designed to do is to solve this problem. Oftentimes people come home from a long day of work with a lot of stress, and they're thinking about next day and their challenges and the stress, so they physically show up to their families, but mentally they're checked out. All they do now is pull into the driveway at home, listen to this track for 6 minutes and 44 seconds, and what happens is, in this track, they get to let go of the negativity from the day. They get to figure out what's the most important thing they need to do tomorrow to take action, so they get back in the game, and then they get to authentically re-experience what it feels like, what it felt like when they first fell in love with their significant other. So even if they've been married for 30 years and they start taking each other for granted, they get to re-experience that intense, amazing, powerful love that they felt for that other person. And back then, there was probably lust in there as well. You feel that too. And when you walk in through the front door, you show up as a different human being. You're fully present, you're loving, you're connecting, and it just changes your entire family dynamics. So as this app moves forward, we'll be adding more categories in, and certainly adding more tracks in each one of these categories. And the whole idea is that we allow people to decide how they want to feel and how they want to act in any situation. The last thing that this app offers is something called customized NeuroBoosterz. And one of my clients in Harrisburg, his name is Doug Miller, and he's one of the premier recruiters in the country. Out of the 330,000, he's like number 48 in the country. So super successful, super driven. And he had called me up and said, Umar, I've got this problem. Hopefully you can help me. Every morning, every weekday morning, I set the alarm to wake up at 4:45. 2 of those mornings, I actually get up at 4:45 and I go running at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the days I start with a run are highly successful sales days. And the days where I kept on hitting the snooze button are not. Can you help me wake up every morning at 4:45 and be out of the front door by 5 o'clock? So we created a NeuroBooster customized for his very DNA. And what I looked for was, Doug, is this something that is a moral imperative for you, that nothing in the world would stop you from taking action on this endeavor? And he says, sure. My son's in the Marines, and my wife and I have to wake up 3 in the morning, so we get to the base first thing in the morning, so we spend the entire day with him, and we wake up 3 in the morning, and we're excited, we're passionate, we can't wait to get out of the house and go see our son. And I took that mental makeup, that brain chemistry, and mapped it over to waking up every day. And it's been about 2.5 months now, and Doug has been waking up every weekday morning at 4:45 and going out for a run. He said, Umar, the only thing I have to do is make sure I don't listen to this track on Friday or Saturday evenings. Otherwise, I'd wake up at 4:45 on the weekends as well. That's what I want to share with you, is this new endeavor. It's called NeuroBoosterz. It gives you the power of applied neuroscience. The ability to decide how you want to show up in this world, so your most powerful, loving, confident self shows up to those situations. When you show up in that way, you achieve more and you make a bigger impact on the world. And that's what I want to do with this app, is to make a huge impact in this world. If you go to NeuroBoosterz.com, there's links to the App Store, the Apple Store, as well as Google Play, so you can download these apps for your phone. And when you download this app, there's one track in each one of the categories that's always free. And if this app speaks to you, you can just swipe the credit card and unlock the rest of the app. It's $12.99 a month, or $100 for the year. I hope you enjoy this app. This will change not only your professional life, but it will enhance your personal life as well. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And if this speaks to you, get the app and please share this with others that you think could benefit by taking control over their mindset. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at NoLimitSelling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results.